actually just upload the files to their website in a particular format, and they give you the format on the website. So, and at that point, they give you a score.
And what do you get for your points? I mean, you get, all right, let's say you get X number of points. What happens as a result of that?
It's just bragging rights.
Oh, it's just bragging rights. Okay. Well, do you get it like a certificate or something to hang on a wall somewhere? Or
I've never won, so I don't know.
Now, what's this gigantic antenna down here that they've got on sawhorses there?
This is a HF beam. It will cover 10, 15, and 20 meters.
All right, we're a little bit closer to this beam antenna now. Now, who owns this beam antenna?
This is actually the club's.
This belongs to the club, and this was purchased with, was this donated or purchased with money?
This was actually donated to the club several years ago.
Okay, now these traps, what exactly, now this is a trap. Now they do come in different sizes and different shapes, I do know that. I've done a little bit of research on them. What does that do? Are each one of these traps identical?
No, each one of these traps are actually, I believe, for a different frequency. And what these do is these allow us to shorten the antenna. The trap acts as a way of making it so that you don't have to have the antenna at the actual electrical RF length. It can be shorter. And this will give you, so that way we can put this thing up in the air, and for 20 meters it doesn't have to be as long as a standard 20-meter antenna.
Okay, what's inside that trap?
It's basically just a winded coil.
A winded coil, just like I remember car antennas had winded coils at the bottom, which increased the length of the antenna, even though, so that's this basically does the same thing.
That's basically it.
Let me go up. Well, I appreciate you taking some time. Let's get you out of the shade where it's or get you in the shade out of the sun. I know you're still sweating. Let me talk to a few others here. Thanks a lot. What you're looking at in the foreground here is the Arkansas River. And we're up pretty high, as you can see, for this field day exercise. Well, it's just beautiful out there today. It's just, this morning is nice and cool, but in about a couple hours we'll be sizzling here. And what I've got is Pat. Now Pat is, he's probably the prime mover and shaker on this whole thing. You set up a lot of stuff, didn't you? Yeah, he set up a lot of stuff. I know he did. There's always the guys that do and the guys that don't. Right now I'm one of the guys that don't until I figure out what's going on. This is something that you built, is that correct?
It is.
Okay, now this is a homebrew antenna, obviously. It doesn't go up too high. What is that, about, maybe 15 feet, I guess?
Probably not even that high.
Not even that? Okay. What is this thing and what is it used for?
It is a 2-meter J-pole antenna.
A 2-meter J-pole, and it's made out of copper tubing, right? You have soldered together.
Yep, this is known as a Lowe's Plumbing Special.
A Lowe's? That's pretty funny.
Literally, that's where the copper stock came from.
Okay, why did you build this 2-meter J-pole Lowe's Plumbers Special?
Well, normally this is what I use at my house for my 2-meter antenna at home to hit the repeaters with around here. I got tired of snatching the mag mount.
With what kind of, now keep in mind now, this is the people that are watching this are supposed to be folks that have no idea what a mag mount. What is that? I guess that's a magnetic mounted antenna. Is that what that is? Okay, so you have to kind of keep it basic, for me especially. And what kind of radio is used with this antenna?
My 2-meter mobile rig, or it's a mobile that I use as a home-based rig.
That's a VHS, right?
VHF rig.
Okay,
Yep.
now VHF is, I said VHF, I meant VHF. Now that's very high frequency,
Correct.
Okay? And this is the kind of antenna you would normally use. It's just a little portable rig, is that right?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is just one of many examples of what you could use. I mean, there's all sorts of 2-meter antennas that you can build. You can build a quarter wavelength, half wavelength, full wavelength if you wanted to. And this essentially is a half wavelength radiator, and 2 meters, 6 feet, and from here on around, if you were to measure it out, is a total of 6 feet.
Okay, now does this thing could go up higher if you wanted it to go higher, right?
A little bit. There's from here down to about here. This copper rod extends a little bit farther down into this tripod.
Yeah.
And all this tripod is what my halogen lights are normally mounted on.
Oh, yeah, halogen light base. Okay, well, that's pretty slick. Well, why copper? I mean, most people use aluminum. Well, this is the first time I've ever seen a copper antenna.
Well, it's easier to solder copper.
All you need is a signal to be picked up, right? Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Now, how exactly is the, well, we'll call this the feed wire, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what this is. I guess you just have it clamped there. Well, how about that? You just got it It's just a coax that you have clamped here, and you've clamped the center wire here, and that's it, huh?
That's it.
Is
and then you can vary the SWR and rough tune it by moving these up and down, and then sometimes sometimes you have to trim, the tips of this. But
well, how do you know you have to trim? I mean, what tells you in an antenna like this, gee, I got it too long by 6 inches? Just the SWR itself, right?
If you don't have anything else at hand, I used one of my what I consider to be expendable handy talkies.
Yeah.
And then hooked it up to it with a small watt meter in series between the HT and the feed line, and then measured the reflected power coming back.
Okay.
And of course, if you have an antenna analyzer like some of these other guys over here have, you can hook that up to it, which is really the nice way to go. I just haven't invested in one of those yet.
Now, a handy talkie, that's just a little handheld transceiver that it's called a HT, which is a handy talkie, which is some new jargon that came out a few years ago. Years ago, it used to be called a walkie-talkie. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. What is this again now? A 2-meter J-pole, right?
2-meter J-pole.
Homebrew, kind of interesting. All soldered together and just a couple of wires from a coax separated and clamped to the piping. Very interesting. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, I was just told that there's something called a W1AW. W1AW. What is that, Wayne? Wayne doesn't know.
You talking to Glenn?
I mean Glenn, I'm sorry. I talk to so many people all the time, I forget who's who. Glenn King, I'm sorry. W1AW, what is that?
W1AW is the call sign of the club station for the National Organization of the American Radio Relay League.
Their organizational call sign.
Club station call sign.
So the ARRL has a separate club, or are they a club?
It is an organization, and they have a club station.
They have a club station, okay. And what's important about W1AW?
Since the ARRL is the organization that sponsors the Field Day contest and sets all the rules, the part of the rules through the W1AW club station, they put a bulletin out sometime today. I think the time is listed in QST.
You're talking about a bulletin over the air.
Over the air.
Okay.
On several different frequencies. And the stations that are participating in Field Day get extra points for copying the bulletin. For sending a message to the section manager. Maybe we'll pick up something for doing RTTY transmissions,
which is
teletype,
radio teletype,
and that we will bundle that all to us. They will transmit, or not transmit, they will publish in their QST magazine, which is the national publication.
Well, what I noticed that you're sitting here messing around with this little black box. What is this little black box right here?
This little black box is an antenna analyzer.
An antenna analyzer, and you're analyzing what antenna? That beam? No, the vertical. The vertical he's putting up right now. Okay. Now you say and what are you analyzing it for?
So the SWR set right, so the radios will work right.
Okay. So you got the hard job here.
I got the hard job. Okay. I sit here and analyze it and say make it longer or make it shorter.
You can always tell the old hams from they know what to do and what not to do.
Young folks.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, for those that don't know, SWR is the 3-letter symbol for, or abbreviation or acronym for standing wave ratio. If you don't get your antenna at the right length for a transmitted signal, it will not go off the end of the antenna properly, and it will bounce back, and it will actually go. It's just like a wave hitting a wall in a swimming pool. You jump in at one end, and the wave goes all the way down to the other end, and then it hits the wall and bounces back. That would be standing wave ratio, and they need to minimize that so they get maximum power out of the antenna, and they can reach pretty far when it transmits. Because if they don't, that standing wave ratio will come back and stop the signal from going out. That's as simple as I can put it. Glenn is sitting back over there with that black box telling them what distance or how long or how much to shorten this antenna.